All right, well, I've had a few questions about doing different voices and character voices in voiceover work and audiobooks, and how one goes about doing that and potential pitfalls and whatnot associated with it. Because it's one thing to do a funny voice for a couple of seconds to make your friends laugh, or even for a minute or two in a short sketch. But what if you're recording a 10-hour audiobook, and that 10-hour audiobook has over 3 dozen characters, and all of those characters need to sound different from one another, but the character in chapter 1 needs to sound the same as they sound in chapter 18? How do you go about doing that? Or, in the case of the current book I'm working on, if I'm doing the entire book in a voice other than my own, how do I make sure that I sound consistent chapter 1 through chapter 10 through chapter whatever? For me, one of the key tools in doing that is, if it's a book with a lot of characters, is you create samples for yourself where you can always go back and listen to, you've saved a clip of each character's speaking voice, and you can go and you listen to it and you speak along with it if you have any doubts about whether or not you're being accurate to the previous performance. I try to use the same text for each character voice to establish that that's what the pattern I use is, which also happens to be one of my favorite warm-ups. Warm-ups in voiceovers, just like singing or acting on stage or being an athlete, you need to warm up. You just want to give yourself the best chance for success in your first take. So warming up is very important. One of my favorites is the NBC announcer test, I think it's called. It starts one hen, two ducks, one hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, and goes on and on and on. Every time you add another thing onto the end. So I'm not going to do the whole thing because it takes a while. I will do the last round of 1 through 10, and I'll try to sort of transition from my regular speaking voice into the voice that I'm using to narrate this upcoming book about ancient Rome, because apparently that's what guys read about right now and think about all the time, is ancient Rome. All right, so here we go. This is the last stanza, I suppose you might call it, of the NBC announcer test, transitioning from my regular voice to the voice that I'm using for this current audiobook project. One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, 4 Limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 pairs of Darnell valses, tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt, 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetic old men on roller skates with a marked propensity toward procrastination and sloth, and 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who haul stall around the corner of the quo of the key of the quivery, all at the same time.